Good evening, everybody. Welcome to full council meeting. Hope everybody is well and had a good summer break. Nice to see everybody. We could start off, please, with the evacuation procedures, please. So there is a location plan on the exits and the assembly points situated on the door of this room, so please familiarise yourself with it. On discovering a fire, please carry out the following: sound the alarm, attack the fire if possible and safe to do so using the appliances provided. On hearing the evacuation signal, please carry out the following: exit the building by your nearest safest exit. All visitors report to Assembly Point G. All staff report to their designated assembly point, which is on Woolpack Way car park, just to my left. Do not leave the assembly point for any reason until told to do so by the incident control or the fire brigade officer. Thank you. So item agenda number 2, do we have any apologies for members away on official council business?
Madam Mayor, we've had apologies from councillors Chapman, Farrow, Parsons and Steve Watson.
Thank you. Do we have any declarations of personal or prejudicial interest at all? No. Steve?
No, I think I'll leave that.
So if I could move please in accordance with standing order number 6, the minutes of the meeting of the council held on the 18th of June 2025 to be approved as a correct record. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you very much. So some announcements really for myself and some of the appointments that I've been doing over the last few weeks. To say it's been a busy period is a bit of an understatement, but it's been thoroughly enjoyable. I've attended 19 events since our last meeting as a representative of you all, and also hosted for fundraising, different activities as well across the borough. So it's been busy, but really enjoyed all of the things that I've had the pleasure of attending. I'll read a couple of them out. I'm not going to read all 19 because I might lose a bit of interest in the room. But there has been some amazing things. I've attended quite a few civic services with other mayors. I've attended Middleton Hall and a visit there, have a look at the wonderful work they do and how they raise funds. I've attended quite a few coffee mornings, which I have to say is probably my favourite things that I've been doing over the last so many weeks. Nothing nicer than sitting down and having a chin wag with somebody. So that's been fabulous, and I've done a couple of those across the borough. So thank you to people that have invited me to those. I've attended a charity football match fundraising for different cancer charities. I've also had the pleasure of awarding volunteers for the Kingsbury Parish Council as part of their first award ceremony. The Warwickshire Changemakers, so that was the first time that had been done, and that was with the High Sheriff of Warwickshire, who gave awards out across Warwickshire to quite a number of people. But to listen to some of the stories of some of the work and the volunteer opportunities that have been going out there was really quite moving, to say the least. and Oldbury Cottage Hair Farm. I have to say that's such a spectacular place, and I'd recommend if you haven't been there to take the time to go and visit. But yeah, lots of different things. Fundraising wise, I have had, thanks to, again, Kingsbury Parish Council, who have donated quite a lot of raffle prizes. I've done I've done a car boot sale, a couple of tombolas with raffles, had a fabulous ladies' afternoon tea. So thank you very much, in particular to Councillor Ridley for hosting the ladies' afternoon tea at our beautiful home. And all my children who have supported all of those fundraising events. And massive thank you to all of the female councillors that came to that ladies afternoon tea. It was a fabulous afternoon. Really appreciated the support. And there will be more events coming on that will be open to both males and females. So I don't want the gentlemen in the room to feel like they've been left out. There will be some other things that will be coming online. So watch your emails for those. But yeah, fabulous amount of things we can do. Davina, if you want to mention a couple of things.
As Deputy Mayor on the Side Act, so Debbie had covered, Councillor Bates covered an awful lot of occasions, but I managed just 7. And since the last full council meeting on the 18th of June, which sounds a long time ago, I went to the Mayor of Coleshill Civic Service at St Peter's and St Paul's in Coleshill, which was a really lovely celebration. I went to Cohort 4 at St Peter's Church in Manchester. What a fantastic group of volunteers, and what a lovely lot of people that were there. And they were awarded a significant amount of money to support them from the National Lottery. So that was a real good celebration for them. I went to an exhibition of the minute books at Poleswood Parish Council, which was fantastic. And we had a lovely lunch provided by Number 3 Bistro. Check them out if you can. And I went to a fundraising fashion show. Unfortunately, I wasn't quick enough to get the frock I wanted, so I need to get a bit quicker on my feet on that. And then we went to the St Mary's Church on Saturday just gone. And had a lovely civil service there for celebrate Mayor Sarah Bishop's year as a Addiston Town Mayor. So hello Sarah, I'll see you here. So yeah, great. But I haven't had to cover 19, so thank you, Debbie. Oh, and you mustn't forget about your fundraising cake store at the end. Yeah, so make sure that you screw some pennies out of these councillors' purses. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice little plug there. So yeah, thank you. So that was one of my additional sort of reminders, really. So yes, there are cakes for sale as you leave. Please do give generously. All proceeds will be going to the Mayor's Fund. Also, can I just remind members, please, that we have a workshop on the 2nd of October for members. So please make sure that's in your diary, plus an additional exec board and council meeting on the 15th of October. So if you could all just make sure you've got those in your calendars. Emails will have been sent out for those. Okay, thank you. Okay, item number 6 then. Any questions from the members of the public?
Non-submitted, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So item number 7 is to receive and consider the minutes and notes of the meeting of the special sub-brief. Thank you. Councillor, please.
Madam Mayor, I beg to move the minutes of the special subgroup held on the 16th of June and the 14th of July be received.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Councillor Watson, thank you. So pages 55, 56. And page 57. Councillor, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wish that the minutes of the special group held on the 16th of June and the 14th of July be received.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Stewart, thank you. All those in favour? Unanimous, thank you. Okay, if we could move on to number 8 then, to receive and consider the minutes of the meeting of the local development framework sub. Councillor Watson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can I move that the minutes of the Local Development Framework Subcommittee meetings on the 1st of July and 9th of September be received?
Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Wheeler. Pages 58, 59, 60, page 61. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the minutes of the Local Development Framework meetings on the 1st of July and 9th of September be adopted.
Thank you. Seconded. Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Okay, I've got my mic on this time. Number 9, to receive and consider the minutes of the meeting of the Planning and Development Board held on the 7th of July, the 4th of August and the 1st of September. Councillor Simpson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the minutes and notes of the meetings of the Planning and Development Board held on the 7th of July and 4th of August and 1st of September be received.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. So page 62, 63, 64, 65.
Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, can I just take the opportunity, you were very generous in giving your adverts for the meetings. Just remind everybody that there is a subgroup meeting or meeting of members on Friday at 1 o'clock this week to consider the council's response to the reform of planning consultation. This genuinely is open to every member of the authority. Please do come, because the proposals are for a whole scale review of planning and could actually lead to a situation where the planning boards, as we know, and some of us live them, cease to exist. And just about every planning decision will be made or delegated by officers, and only very significant decisions go to the board. So it is important that everyone understands what's being proposed and has their say in the authority's response.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Page 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, page 71.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, if I could just draw everyone's attention to the comment underneath item 34, that this the meeting we're talking about now was the final meeting at which Jeff Brown attended as the head of development control for the authority. Yeah, Jeff is still just about with us until the end of this month, but I would honestly like to take the opportunity to sincerely thank him for his 51 or 2 years service to the authority. Throughout that time, Jeff has been a trenchant member, has worked diligently, and I think if you were to walk around the borough, there's almost no building that's been erected in the past 52 years that he hasn't had some engagement with. I think Jeff deserves all of our thanks for his significant contribution to the life of the borough and hopefully a very long and happy retirement.
Absolutely agree. Thank you very much, Councillor Simpson, and very eloquently. Thank you. Page 72. Okay, councillor Simpson.
Madam Mayor, I now move that the minutes of the board, of the planning and zoning board be received.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you very much, councillor James. All those in favour? Thank you. Moving on to item agenda number 10, to receive the minutes of the meeting of the exec board on the 16th of July and the 15th of September. Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the minutes of the executive board held on the 16th of July and the 15th of September of this year be received.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. Page 73. Page 74. 75. Page 76. 77. 78.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I now move that the minutes of the executive board held on the 16th of July and the 15th of September be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Simmons, all those in favour? Thank you very much. Item number 11. Item number 11 is to receive and consider the minutes of the resource board dated the 24th of July. Councillor Simmons.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the minutes of the Resources Board held on the 24th of July 2025 be received.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, councillor. Huh? What? What did you say? My name. Oh. Sorry, yeah. Page 79. Page 80. Page 81. Page 82. Councillor Simmons, thank you.
Thank you. And I move that the minutes of the Resources Board held on the 24th of July be adopted.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you very much. And all those in favour? Thank you. Item number 12 is to receive and to consider the minutes of the Standards Committee dated the 18th of August. Councillor Hayfield.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to move that the reports and recommendations of the Standard Board held on the 18th of August now be received.
Do I have a seconder? Thank you very much.
Can I kick off on this, please? Not quickly. This is an accurate reflection of what took place in the minutes, but I think there was also a concern expressed that it had taken so long from the initial complaints to get to this stage. Not this fault in particular, but we're talking several years. And one of the things that the officer leading this is charged with is trying to find ways in which we can speed up this process. So basically, we need to do better next time in being more prompt with the conclusion of the complaints made. So with that, I'll leave it.
Thank you. Page 83. Page 84.
Madam Mayor.
Councillor Simmons. Simpson.
It is.
Could be on night.
So, Chairman, I was going to start out by saying thank you to Councillor Hayfield for his early comments. I'm not sure I can. I think he's absolutely right in what he said, that it took way too long, far too long for that report to get to the board and for us to make a decision. The other point is it cost far too much money. This was a ridiculous waste of public money. And not only have we got to work harder at it taking so long, we've got to stop pouring away resources on rubbish like this.
Thank you. Councillor Hayfield, do you want to respond?
Will I respond somewhat at the same time?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Councillor Simpson said that I was right. I have to say he's right as well, and it's some very happy. Cost, time, everything. Processes are set out by government. We've got very little way of circumventing them. We have to go through due process, but it can be handled more speedily than has been past. And it's at a cost. There are better things we could be spending our resources on. And with that, Madam Mayor, I'd like to move that the reporting recommendations of the Standards Board held on the 18th of August now be approved and adopted.
Thank you very much. Do I have it seconded, please? Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Next is to receive and consider the minutes of the Community and Environment Board held on the 20th of August. Councillor Bow.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the minutes of the Community Environment Board on the 20th of August this year be received.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Bow. Page 85. And page 86. Councillor Bow.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the minutes of the Community Environment Board 20th of August this year be adopted.
Seconded. Thank you, Councillor Jones. All those in favour? So if we move on to item number 14. So can I call on Councillor Barnett, please, to go through this motion?
Thank you, Chair. The motion is that the council grant Hunstanton Town Community Football Club 30-year lease within the next 6 months.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Hobley. Are there any other motions? Councillor Simmons.
Circulate that.
Pardon?
Circulate that.
Okay, the amendment's just going to, they're around now to be circulated, so we're done.
The opportunities of
Madam
Can I just check if we have a copy of, would members, Councillor Barnett, like time to read and consider? Okay, can I give 10 minutes then, please? Is that okay? Enough time?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Please stand.
Thank you all. Thanks very much. And thanks for the patience of waiting. So, Councillor Simmons, do we have a second for your for your motion?
I will second that.
Councillor Wright, thank you. Thank you, councillor Simmons for the amendment.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Our amendment has been slightly tweaked and we are looking to accept a friendly amendment that's been posed. Hope that that's okay. This is the right time to talk to that. So as is printed, do you want me to read it or do you want me to?
Just the additional words.
Just the additional words. So at the end of paragraph E, was to add and an update be brought to the members in Resources Board in 6 months' time.
Thank you very much. That's seconded. Councillor Wright, seconded. Yes, seconded.
Oh, second, yes.
Yeah. Okay, councillor Barney, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. I will start by congratulating the current board, and what we're here tonight, and all of their volunteers for all the improvements that they've made to the club the last 20 months since they've taken over. I know they've got much bigger ambitions ahead. But there is only so far that can push the improvements in rolling lease arrangement. With only a short-term lease, it's difficult for them to plan much ahead with such a short-term horizon. I think more difficult to find funding to do anything about it. Most providers of external grants are unwilling to fund improvements to any ground with such short-term guarantees. One current major limitation is the current grass pitch, which has got very tight limits on the amount that it can actually be used and still be being fit to support decent match conditions. And this request, the original motion, is a request for a 30-year lease, which should give them sufficient time to obtain funds, lay a 4G pitch, and then in addition, the expected lifetime of that pitch. And such a long-term lease will then give the club long-term stability and show the commitment that this council has to their future. But it's not just about an improved playing surface. By enabling the club to invest in their facilities, it would open the door for other funding for other long-term improvements in facilities more generally, allowing investment in an important community asset for the town of Atherstone, and also contribute to the long-term financial stability of the club by enabling other revenue streamers. I'd like to remind members of the vision statement, which is in our green space strategy, which states North Warwickshire will have a well-planned, protected and managed network of sustainable, biodiverse green spaces that meets the needs of its communities and that maximises the opportunities presented by new development. And my original motion is entirely about that last section. It's about ensuring that we maximise the potential for development available for Atherstone Town Community Football Club. Various other grassroots football teams around North Warwickshire have already been granted leases by this council over the last few years and are well on the way to getting major investments in their facilities. Thanks to the council, they've got Horchwood and Annesley Sports Ground, Chess Football Club at Arley. They've both been given leases, and Atherstone Rangers earlier this year were given a lease at Manchester Recreation Ground as well. And I know they've got plans to reopen the pavilion there. And also Atherstone Sports Club were recently granted 30-year lease by this council, and they're well into grant applications and they're hoping to get their own 4G pitch in the near future. Atherstone Town Community Football Club is at a critical turning point in its history, and it's within our gift tonight to give them the boost they need to fulfil their ambitions. Turning to this amendment, while I fully agree with items A and D, recognise the work that's been achieved, item E really to me seems to be an argument to maintain the status quo. Things have been going far too slowly. The club really needs to, step on with their ambitions, and we need things to move much quicker than they have been. And this really just seems to be an argument to carry on with the current glacial progress through, and nothing's really seems to have happened so far. In terms of the lease, I know other things have happened in terms of other things. And the other point I wanted to make, we had the comment earlier tonight about the standards board and about things taking far too long. I mean, this is a classic example of something that's taken far too long. And if this amendment goes through, I can't see that that's going to change.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hockley, do you wish to speak now or reserve your right to speak later?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Can I reserve my right to speak to the end, please? Thank you.
Councillor Simmons?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to explain a little bit about why I put an amendment forward. And that is one of the things that's been happening, as you can see from the amendment. There's been quite a bit of work being done between the council and the existing committee at Aston Town Football Club. And there has been substantial work being done there over the period of time with this new committee. But one of the things that I wanted to explain is a notice of motion isn't potentially the right way of engaging a council to embark upon a 30-year legal lease arrangement. You know, there's a lot of detail required in a lease arrangement, a lot of terms, conditions that can't be negotiated, if you like, in a chamber on an evening with one notice of motion. There's very little detail outlined in this notice of motion. It's just, can they have a lease for 30 years within the next 6 months? You know, there's nothing that's behind that gives us the greater detail that a lease negotiation would actually need to involve. You know, as a council, we have worked with the existing team after, you know, one of the management groups before, when it was completely disbanded. Then the football club didn't have an ongoing organisation for us to engage with, and at that point we had a tenancy at will. We still have that tenancy at will, and that the following group then had an issue with their health and safety support. So this council worked with them to reopen that site after it had to be closed because work wasn't being done to keep the people using it safe. It had to be shut, the doors had to be locked. So I think when we talk about things being quicker, embarking on a 30-year lease with a relatively new team on a 1 or 2 line motion is just not detailed enough for us on this occasion, which is why I proposed the amendment. And that's what that amendment is about and what it means. It means that, you know, we're looking for sustainability, we're looking for greater understanding of what that might involve with that club. And that's an ongoing relationship and a relationship with the council and Aston Town Football Club. You know, I believe they should continue to have those meetings. I believe that they should continue to move forward. But I'm not in a position as chair of Resources Board that would bring that to my board in terms of finance and leases would be agreed in that forum to support that on this occasion. And that's why I put the amendment forward today. And I think it's important to explain that and for people to understand why on this occasion I just couldn't possibly support the motion as printed, because I think it's would be unfair to the residents of North Warwickshire to embark upon something so long term with so little detail.
Thank you. That's all right. Do you wish to speak now or reserve your right to speak later?
I shall reserve my right, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I open up then for any comments? Councillor Jarvis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Firstly, 2 years back, football club didn't have a ground. It's been locked up for a number of reasons. Environmental Health had done quite a comprehensive report that highlighted serious non-conformances, such as excessive mould in changing rooms, kit room, no Legionnaire prevention procedures, similar things in the clubhouse, with the drinks facilities being filthy in one of the words. Rightly so, the ground was locked up to safeguard the players and the supporters. Councillor Singh and myself, as ward councillors, facilitated meetings with council officers and a set of actions was set to get work done to reopen the ground. Fantastic work was done by volunteers, which raised the standards to ground so that it could be reopened for games. Councillor Singh and myself have sponsored both balls, programmes, and have given the grant to purchase equipment. The aim now is sustainability, to get the club out of the boom and bust cycle that it's been over the past years, and to get a long-term lease for the club. Recent meetings have moved forward to this goal, but I fear this motion is very premature and will not help the club. The last meeting, a council officer said, with the lease comes a cost. The club representative said, if we have to pay, we may as well go home now. Nevertheless, we continue to work on sustainability with the club and progress towards a long-term lease. But at this time, I am unable to support the motion as printed.
Thank you, councillor Phillips.
Thank you. I don't know much about football, but I know a bit about common sense. And it's like, okay, they don't like how the motion's out printed. I'll tell you what's not in this motion, the amendment, shall I say. There's no amendment saying here, we are going to sit down with you and talk to you. We are going to do this, we are going to do that, we're going to do the other. So yes, they might not be happy with our motion. It might be simplistic, fair enough. We acknowledge that, fair enough. We're not, we don't write these things, we don't know how these things function. We have much more time to deal with that. But they could have put an amendment in saying, we'll seek you out, we'll find you, we'll sit down with you, we'll chat with you. We guarantee this and we guarantee that. They have not. It's just wishy-washy. This is just more kicking the can down. This smells like to me. It smells of chlorine. This smells just like swimming pool. Keep kicking it down the road, so eventually you'll forget about it. I remember 2019, 2020, we put a similar motion in before things went wrong. Look, it makes you wonder, if you had your lease back then, the club may thrive. I don't know. But it seems to be interesting. We want it to grow, but hold it back just enough because we don't want to commit. And as I remember standing here many times, and all I've ever heard is, we are bold here. This council's bold. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It is simple. It seems to be pretty simple to give you a lease. And I'm pretty sure the cost, we can find the change down the back of those chairs. I don't think it's not the cost of fortune, is it? And if you're willing to have a whip round, then I'm sure we can get there too. It seems to be, we can just talk about it better and live a better community. I think this is pathetic. I really do. It's just like the swimming pool.
Councillor Singh, I saw your hand first.
I've been a supporter of the football club for many years, both as a councillor and an individual. I've seen a few chairmen come and go, but over only 2 years ago, there were padlocks on the gates due to health and safety issues. I sat in the working group meetings to address those issues to get the club reopened. I say well done to all the volunteers and officials who gave up their time freely to make the club successful. The club is probably in its best position now than ever. Still more to do. However, I feel that the club is just beginning to set its foundation for the future. It's just getting on its feet. It needs to show sustainability. Let's continue working together with this working group until the full council is satisfied that a longer lease could be granted. This is a big step forward. Let's work together to get that goal, not decide over a notice of motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First of all, I will do you the compliment of addressing my remarks to you and not to the audience. This is a council matter. It's going to be decided by council, and my remarks are addressed to you. I was happy to support our amendment. I'm even more happy to support it with Councillor Stewart's amendment with a 6 months reconsideration of this. I think this is a politically opportunistic notice of motion. It's a one-liner. Where's the business plans? No. Where's the costings for this? Is it just going to grant you 30 years and police? Here you are, and not worry about the detail, the supporting, or anything else that goes with it. So I think we definitely need more discussion on this. There's absolutely no doubting the popularity of Addison Football Club within Addison and its surrounding area. It's had a checkered past. It's on the rise. And generally speaking, I'm happy to support the club. I'm happy to support. I'm a Coleshill councillor. I'm happy to support Coleshill Town Football. This, we're dealing with a borough council asset of considerable value, and we need to think through carefully before we take our decision. And my final point I want to make is that the life of this council is only likely to be another 2 years. Hence, government plans for reorganisation means that we're likely to be happily abolished along with all the other district councils and replaced by one or more new authorities, unitary authorities. And I think we need to think very carefully before we commit an asset like this for 30 years when we know that we're only going to be in existence for another couple of years. I really think that it's ought to be a decision for the new authority. But I'm happy to look at it again in 6 months and seek a more convincing business case that shows that this borough asset is going to be best used in this way. I think this is premature.
Thank you, councillor Hayden. Councillor Durbix.
You want to make a point of? Yeah, I apologise for addressing my comments to the gathered people. I do think it's public environment. However, I haven't told I'm very quiet, so I wanted them to hear what I would say.
Councillor Durbix.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I can't remember how long ago it was, but a number of years ago, I was asked to second the motion to make the future of this club more secure. And that's what I did. I spoke in support of them. I helped in a small way to get them the tenancy at will they have now. At the time, I thought, we've done it. We've got this club going in the right direction. Sadly, since then, things have happened that have prevented that from going the way that we really wanted it to. 2 years ago, we were in a situation where they'd been locked out. They didn't have a future. But through the hard work of representatives of the club and the officers of this council, we are now in a position where we should be moving forwards. This council has accepted with other clubs and other organisations in the area that the way forward in their situation is 30-year lease, because then you can get funding from other places. And a lot of work has been done with those clubs and with our officers to make that happen, which means that our officers do have some expertise to call in to help this to happen. Now, I believe that that is what we should be doing, pushing this forwards to secure this asset for the borough, because it isn't just Addison, it is the borough, And to make sure that whatever happens in 2 years' time, there is no question that this is going to survive. I firmly believe that we should be trying to set the timescale to get this through. I don't think we should be pushing it into the long grass by saying, oh, we'll just carry on as we are and see what happens, because that's what this motion really, this amendment really amounts to. And I accept that there's an improvement on that with the amendment being put forward, but I don't think the amendment goes far enough. I think we need a timescale. We need to be saying this is going to happen and we are going to make it happen. And we want to see progress by such and such a date. I don't think it is good enough just to say, we'll carry on talking. We've talked long enough. So I urge people to reject the amendment and vote for the motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Shearer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I fell out of love with football in around 2005, supporting Walsall FC for 25 years, having awakened that to a man. But then I found non-league football. I love non-league football. It's great. Unfortunately, my little boy doesn't like non-league football, so I don't get to go so often anymore. But that time following getting soaked through on no roof covered terraces up and across the West Midlands and the far north of England teaches you to appreciate the game. You see people, many of a type that you see here tonight, and you see them up and down the country following their team, giving their time to get players onto the pitch, see them on each other's shoulders putting up the goal nets and that kind of thing. And you see it everywhere, and wherever you go, you see it, and you see the little quirks around everything. And it lets you know that grassroots football clubs can be such an engine for good in their communities. Is that when I read the motion as it was, and its brevity does have to be noted, you know, is a single line motion, doesn't actually give you an awful lot of background. But I'm broadly supportive because I know what security of tenure to a football club means. I also know that it has the ability to provide the ability to go and find grants. And the biggest grant that you're going to be looking at right now, which is the case, and you see it if you follow non-league, is that you've seen grass pitches disappear and seen them replaced by 4G. I'm a traditionalist. I like pitches that are bumpy. I like them with slopes like that. I like them with that. But I also, people say grass pitches are better. They're better for 3 months out of 12, you know, and the ability to reuse them for any wider purpose is non-existent. 4G pitches have provided sustainable outcomes for non-league clubs all around this country. You see them being able to be used and support the aims of this council. You know, youth football can end up using the first team pitch on a regular basis. The youth teams and other junior clubs around the area split that pitch into thirds. That's what we used to do when British Olympic under 18s, when I managed them. Yeah, and we used to go and take that through, and you had that ability to have great facilities that support enjoyment. And the youth engagement, we really suffer for a lack of youth services in North Warwickshire. And this could be a real engine for good in that kind of aspect. And also, it can bring in an awful lot of cash that can make the club sustainable. But, and there's a really big but here, and I hope that it gets nods from around the room, and please don't take this as a criticism, but non-league clubs up and down this country as well have been hamstrung by the fact that they go and get a 4G pitch and they don't realise that it's got a shelf life. 15 years and it's, sorry, I was going to, it's not in the same standard and condition that might be required to play decent standard of league football. Yeah, thank you. And therefore it is important that when all of this money comes into the club, and if you go and see how much you have to pay for an artificial five-a-side or eight-a-side pitch at goals, you know that this could generate an awful lot of cash for the club. That a significant amount is put by to replace at the end of term. Because I've seen enough non-league clubs, and I'm sure people who follow non-league football for some time, there's plenty of ground out there that ain't got clubs in them anymore. You know, good clubs, good solid clubs that are only over 2 or 3 years away from folding. And I don't want that to happen here. Yeah. So I would like to see that in any eventual lease, that there is some provision made to safeguard the long-term future of the football club. Because I tell you, and I've been there, I know it, is that if you're one place above the relegation zone, or one place within the relegation zone, 2 points off the playoff or 1 point off top shop, and you've actually got £30,000 in the bank account that you've put by because you're saving to redo the pitch, it's very difficult not to tap into it. Yeah. And I'd be there, I'd be with you. You know, I'd be claiming those kind of things. It's only because I've got a certain amount of detachment that I can say, actually, we've got to be really, really careful about the long-term future. So, I am broadly supportive of the original motion. I totally take on board the point, and the point that Councillor Hayfield made around the longevity of this body going forward is well made. But I actually think that that is an argument for us to speed up this process, certainly not slow it down, because we can get something done in 2 years. Because otherwise, we go back to square one with no commitment. And who knows? I'm not a political animal, I'm an independent, but who knows what political makeup that council will be in 2 years' time and what their particular priorities will be. So we have the ability now to push this forward. That's why we proposed the friendly amendment to the amendment to try and put a time scale on it. Now, the difficult thing is that for all of the good things that are in that amendment, I still don't automatically agree with it. Yeah, even with our amendment. But I think it's possibly going to be the best deal that's going to be on the table that we get to vote for tomorrow. I would like to see as well, actually the original motion, I sometimes wonder whether a 15-year rolling lease or a 10-year rolling lease might actually serve the club better. Because in 25 years' time, who knows where we will be with some land that could be redeveloped for any future council. So I like the idea of it possibly exploring those kind of options. So the idea of not kicking the can down the road, but bringing things back within 6 months. To have that timescale and that commitment from this body, I think is absolutely necessary. Because otherwise there's a real danger that this doesn't get kicked to the road, it just evaporates. And we can't really allow for that to happen. Thank you very much.
Councillor Ridley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My husband loves football. He absolutely loves it. I'm there on nice sunny days, but when it's fiddling down with rain, I'm not so sure. He supports Division 1 and he says, it's where you're from, it's who you are, it's in your DNA. I think you've actually proved that that's where you are, where you're from, and you're here. And congratulations to you for turning up and showing your club some support. It's not just the football though, is it? It's also about the mental health, the physical exercise, the community. And I completely and utterly get that with my husband's football team as well. So broadly, I want to see Addison football team support and succeed as well. And I think with the team that it's got behind it at the moment, with the business plans going ahead, that's great. I think that there will be need to work with the council to look at financial positions and a plan going ahead. So I, like Councillor Stewart, felt that this motion was premature. All probably well intended, but premature. And I really do think that the amendment, and certainly the friendly part, about bringing it back to the council and working closely with the senior officers of the council and the resources board should bear benefits. I really do. I had 2 issues. One was the financial side of things, the fact that there is a tenancy at will, that we need to look at perhaps some sort of rental Because I know certainly I'm a councillor, an independent councillor at Dordon. I've got families in Dordon who are struggling to pay their rent. So where we've got businesses that don't pay rent and receive receipts, I need to face them and talk to them in the street about that. But going forward, it needs to be a viable conversation. And I think this 6 months will give us that flexibility to see where we can go with it. Secondly, and I get where Councillor Barnett has said about green spaces, I'm all for green spaces. I'm all for our sports and our social and our recreation. I'm on something called the Planning and Development Board and also the Local Development Forum. So that means planning, employment, houses, recreation, green spaces, you name it, that it comes to the boards. But Atherstone Football Ground is not a green space. It's actually been allocated in the local plan as a reserve housing site. Now that was passed in 2021, well before my time. We have got a lot of houses that need to be delivered, and with the A5 funding being pulled by this current government, then we need to look at where the housing sites will need to be. Now, what that does is put more pressure on our reserve sites. And when it was examined by Tom Bristow, who was the planning inspector, he said that the reserve sites RH1, which is in Grendon, and that was for 360 houses, RH2 in Ansley Common for 358 houses, and RH3 Atherstone Football Ground for 46 houses were viable with certain conditions, i.e. access, infrastructure and flooding. When we were elected to this council, I put a motion in to review that local plan. It was passed, so we are having a review of that local plan because not everything in that local plan sits comfortably with me as a councillor. It has been passed, it is legal, it is lawful, but we are under review. So there's issues and options that's going to come to board in October. There is going to be a full consultation on our local plan. Please engage, please get involved, please read it. Because at the moment, planning is very difficult. Government are pushing for more and more homes. We are short of starter homes, retirement homes, all sorts of things. So it's really important that we engage and look at this. So again, this is my second point about coming back in 6 months' time, because by then we should have had our consultation. So thank you for coming this evening. We really appreciate it, the council. We appreciate people voicing their opinions, but consult, and please work with the council. I would support this amendment and say it'll give us time to be able to work together. Thank you.
Councillor Jackson, so your hand next.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm sorry, but I can't support this amendment. Because I'd like to speak in support of the motion for the Adders football team to be granted the long-term lease. I was fortunate enough to attend the match last night, and it was not only great fun, but a great joy to see them win. What struck me most while being there was the passion, not just from the players on the pitch, the members from the board, but them supporters that were in the stands. It was clear to see this is more than just a football club. It's a community bringing together people from all ages and backgrounds. A long-term lease would give the Adders the security that they need to plan for the future, invest in the facilities and continue to provide the opportunities for sport and the community pride. We've seen that these long-term leases are a success. You know, in my ward alone, I have 2 clubs that have been given the 25-year leases, and they're now thriving, being given the long-term grants that they need. So I believe that they deserve our backing. So I hope that if this amendment is accepted, that we do see it back in 6 months and we have the final plans to give them the long-term grant that they deserve.
Thank you, Councillor Waffles.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
People who don't know me might be surprised to learn that I've been a football fan since I was 2.5 years old. That was my first football match. People might not like the team that I do support and maybe argue that it wasn't real football, but Birmingham City. I've been a season ticket holder. I've watched England away at home, not away, sadly. But I've been all over the country as an away fan, as a home fan, supporting teams. So from my point of view, although Atherstone isn't my team, I totally get football. I totally get all of the things that Councillor Ridley said that are extra to the passion that you have. I feel that passion. I know that passion. I know how hard it is when you come home and you lose. I've felt that more than the win. But what I'm trying to say to you is you're still there. You're still out there supporting. I came into the chamber tonight, you know, really wanting to support this, and I'm still in two minds what I want to do based on the fact that I really want this team to thrive. I really want to support. I've listened to, you know, the some of the things. Common sense has been mentioned over there, and I do allude to that because I think we are a council. We've got to look at everything that goes before. I think I then start looking at. I'm also chair of Polesworth Parish Council. We had a dilemma not long ago for our local kids team, which was the Polesworth Swifts, and we had to battle with a 5-year lease just as a parish council. I know it's not on the same scale, but as a parish council, you know, thinking about the longevity of this and what's going to happen in a couple of years when we might not be there. Are we sort of committing to too much, or do we support the team? We went with it in the end, by the way. But what we did need was to see what the grants they were applying for and getting all of that information so that we could firmly make the decision based on the knowledge. And then, as Councillor Ridley said, be able to look our residents in the face and explain why we've done what we've done, because we are here to represent our local areas and the borough. So, as I've said, common sense, definitely. I think the reason we put the amendment in is not because we don't want to support the team. We absolutely do. But what we want to do is be able to support you with absolutely everything you need, and not. I appreciate the short motion that's come through, because what it's done is it's brought it to this arena. And by bringing it to this arena, and with our amendment pushing it to 6 months, bring it back, we need to do something, because we've actually committed that if the amendment goes through tonight. So it won't be kicking it down the grass too long. I appreciate that we might not be here after a couple of years, but what we do is we commit to bringing it back seriously with all the information. Let's get this properly done in 6 months so that this team can flourish with the common sense that's been mentioned. Let's have it done properly. And now we've brought it to this chamber, we can all agree that it is a priority and we will get it sorted, but done properly so that we can all agree to it, face our residents and know that it's been done properly so that when we're long gone, you're all secure. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As many people in Chamber know, I'm a Newcastle United fan, but I'm not going to hold their red and white stripes against them. Football isn't just a hobby that's 90 minutes on a Saturday. I know, it's about the build-up, it's about worrying about injuries, about the analysis of the game, of the manager, of everything that's going on. People live and breathe their football, They live and breathe their football. It's, for the man who's lost his wife, it can be their only social aspect on a Saturday. And if he's not there, people notice and they check up on him, make sure that he's okay. And if COVID taught us anything, it taught us that community matters. We've become more connected online than we ever have before. But yet levels of loneliness are still rising. And that tells us that face-to-face contact still matters. I think it's disingenuous to say that the motion requires the full terms of the lease. That's not what motions do. The full terms of the lease would be for the clever lawyers and the club to work out and to bring back to the board for us to agree.
I don't want to throw this into the long grass any more than anyone else. Like my colleague said, we've had the leisure centres being talked about for what, 10, 12 years, and we're still, you know, still waiting for that. We've been talking about Pulsworth Leisure Centre. I doubt very much that's going to happen. What we need is movement. There have been lots of conversations and nothing has happened. And I'm sorry if my colleagues haven't read the club's business plan. We have, it's brilliant. And I take objection actually to the argument that, well, we might not be here in 3 years' time, so, you know, we better not do this. To my mind, this gives us more reason to protect our local asset, which is the football club, not Housing Land Football Club. I think the fact we've got a full chamber here, and I know there's lots of people who couldn't be here tonight who are waiting avidly to find out the results of tonight. And I think there's been lots of chat, there's been lots of conversations, but not much action, except by the club who've worked really, really hard to safeguard the future of this club. But they need our help. And we recognise that that can't be done in a few days, which is why we've given them 6 months. That gives the club some security that the council actually will do something, not just report back, because quite often reports don't come back on time. The club needs some security. The children who go along with their grandparents, parents on a Saturday to play alongside the players, they need some security that they're going to have a football club. We see children online too much, but then we close local youth clubs, we close local football clubs. You know, what are the young people supposed to do? We want them to be out with their friends, not sat at home on their computers. So let's safeguard the future of this club for the local residents in Aston and the surrounding villages. So I won't be supporting the amendment because I'd like the motion to go through.
Is there anybody else that wishes to speak?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will be very, because I'm sure I'm just going to make myself unpopular. And I'll do that now. I don't like football. No, that's true. Everybody else is keen to say like, I don't like it. But what I do like is commitment. And we've seen a vast amount of commitment. People prepared to come and talk to us, to listen to what is a fairly dry event, and to participate. And that counts. That really counts. We've also seen a substantial amount of commitment from my colleagues, Major Singh and Ray Jarvis, who have been stuck in working at this for some time, doing all the dry, boring stuff that helps to build the future of the club with its supporters and with its managers. I like all of that, even though I don't like football. I like the fact that everybody's come here to show me how much it matters to them. That counts, really counts. But the other thing I've got from this meeting tonight, as well as an outpouring of support for the club, is that this is not a simplistic binary decision. And members of the council know, you know, we can't just play to the audience. We have to make the right long-term decision. And that's why I'm going to vote for the amendment.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Just make a clarification that Councillor Singh and Councillor Jarvis weren't the only councillors that have worked towards this. It has been a cross-party effort for many years to try to support.
Okay.
And I think that should be acknowledged.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But my apologies to Councillor Davis, I wasn't aware of that. So I'm perfectly to acknowledge it. All I'd heard was what my two colleagues had done. But if they're not, then equal kudos to them.
Hence the clarification.
Okay, thank you. Can I close that down now? Thank you very much. Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak? Okay, Councillor Hobbie, do you want to?
Councillor Wright first.
Sorry, Councillor Wright.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to deal in facts. So I support grassroots football. I support grassroots football and all sports, you know, across the borough, unequivocally. we've heard lots about from the Labour group who are, you know, clearly playing a little bit of politics here. But the facts of the matter are, Councillor Ryrie, you said lots of words, no action. However, I would remind, and we refer to it in our amendment, only 2 years ago, the club was closed. The padlocks were on the gates. That was because of health and safety reasons and because the company that held the lease was dissolved. Now, if it hadn't have been for the Conservative administration and our officers, it is a fact. The club wouldn't be here now in a position asking for the council to grant them a 30-year lease. You wouldn't have been. That's a fact. We have worked as a council tirelessly in those 2 years with the club to help you get into a sustainable position. I can't remember who said that there's no communication. There's, you know, it's all it was Councillor Phillips that said nowhere in our amendment does it say when we're going to sit down. Well, Councillor Phillips does say in our amendment that we are going to continue.
I didn't say it's going to.
We are going to continue with our dialogue and our communication as we've done, and this is senior officer level. This is director level and assistant director level, and they've been working tirelessly to get into a good position. We heard from, I think it was Councillor Dervis that said, and Councillor Barnett have said, we've granted long leases to other sports clubs. We have. There's a huge difference though between those other sports clubs and this club, and that is fundamentally they are just pitches that we've granted them a lease to use. This has got clearly the stands, the changing rooms, etc., and there lies one of the big problems. If a private landlord was to own the club and they lease it, then all the responsibility is with the organisation that's leased. When you are a local authority, that's not the same. So all these negotiations that we've had, particularly over health and safety, if somebody had been injured, if somebody had been killed on that ground because of health and safety, it wouldn't have been the club, it wouldn't have been me as the leader of the council, it would have been our chief exec that was in the dock for corporate manslaughter. That's why we have an added responsibility. And that's the difference between the other clubs and Addison and Town. We are not saying we are not going to give a lease. We are saying that we need to continue the discussions and at pace, absolutely. I believe our new interim director of corporate director of Streetscape is arranging a meeting in the very near future. So, you know, it is happening, you know, and we are not saying, no, we're not kicking it into long grass. We're saying we are going to continue the detailed discussions that are required. We have a responsibility to the council taxpayers of North Warwickshire. We need to do the right thing by all of North Warwickshire and not just to Addison. However, that's what our amendment says. Our amendment says, as most of you have read, to continue the dialogue, to continue the actions, because there have been considerable actions already taken place, and that's what we want to do.
Councillor Hobley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sorry. So I came here this evening to second my colleague Councillor Barnett's motion to grant a lease to Addison Town Football Club. So obviously I had a different speech prepared because I wasn't expecting the amendment to the motion to come through as it did. I am proud that I've stood by to second this motion, Madam Mayor. My love for grassroots football is no secret in this chamber at all, to any councillor. But what was a surprise to me was wearing and suiting so much, I might as well say, red and white. It's, as we all know, I'm an avid Neaton Borough fan, for my sins, guys, I know, which has led me to the Adders this season. So we are actually in the same league this season. So even as an away fan, I've got to experience the proper Adders on a match day. It was only a couple of weeks ago, my fellow councillor Andy Wright was telling me he attributes his young appearance to all the grassroots football that he's played. So I don't need to remind this chamber of the benefits of grassroots sport. I'm sure everyone in here has got their own grassroots stories. We've heard a few councillors stand up and admit, like we're in some sort of judgment meeting, the teams I support, but I won't go too much into that. Newcastle. I don't need to tell you the benefit of belonging to a community. We all belong to our own communities, even in our political groups. I don't need to tell you all the benefits of sport to physical relationships, the prevention of domestic abuse and the benefits of for men's mental health. When one of my own residents approached me and said, Katie, what can we do now to get the lease for the Adders? Because I'm sponsoring them with my company next year. And this resident of mine, Dave, works for Aspire and Thrive, who you've met, Madam Mayor, as part of your duties. They're an outstanding alternative provision in Warwickshire and have paired up with the Adders in hope of some good community work to be done in future. I'm going off script a little bit now because I've had to write something new. So that was going to be what I was going to say. What I am saying now, unfortunately, is I cannot support the amendment to the motion. When it takes out the whole point of the motion, I wasn't expecting, nor were these guys to come here and sign on the dotted line tonight, but I was expecting the commitment from this council, our council, to a long-term lease for the club. The reasons we have already spoken about, they don't deserve this amendment. They don't deserve any of this. They have the attention of the FA, the Premier League and the football club. They are ready to go with funding applications. And while I acknowledge the work already done by my fellow councillors across the board, I cannot support what feels like, and I don't want to say the phrase because it's really annoying, but kicking it into the long grass. My promise remains the same to Atherstone Town Community Football Club. This is a start. What might not go ahead tonight, this motion wasn't to give the terms of a lease, but I promise you the detail of this motion will be covered by this council. Nobody came here to sign a motion, but they expected a commitment this evening, and it doesn't give that. And I will leave on this. It's already been alluded to, as it's already been alluded to by my fellow councillors, a few of you have mentioned it. You know, we are going through a devolution process. We know we're not going to be sitting here in 3 years' time. But I'll tell you what we'll be here in 3 years' time. These fans, this community. And that's the reason I've put this motion in. That's the reason why I support the original motion and not the amendment. This is more than football. This is community. Up the Adders.
That's concerned.
Thank you. It is about the sustainability of the council, and I understand the points that Councillor Hobley has made. And one of the things we are looking for is that, you know, where we are engaging with any organisation that can make a long-term commitment, is that sustainability. And in an organisation that's had such a checkered history with this council, I think we need to see more. And I know that isn't popular, but unfortunately, we're not here about what's popular. We're here to do what's right for the North Warwickshire residents. That is broader than Atherstone, and it will require a lot more information and a lot more sitting down and working through the plans. I don't want to use another pun, but you know, it's a notice of motion isn't a method to bounce a council into a decision on a populist basis. And unfortunately, you know, I will, for those perhaps looking for a different answer tonight, and maybe you didn't expect a commitment or a sign on the dotted line, but the way the motion is posed, had we voted on that, and should we vote on that and accept that, you know, that takes us down a path which I as chair of resources would be very uncomfortable with on the basis of this council. So I have a responsibility. I have to fulfil that responsibility and deliver that responsibility, whether that's popular or not. And so I support my amendment with the friendly amendment from the North Warwickshire Independent Group. And I, you know, propose that that is supported on the basis that we are all here to represent North Warwickshire and the residents and taxpayers.
Thank you. Councillor Barnes, would you like to start, please?
Thank you. I noted Councillor Simpson's went about football on. What I would say is that while I don't hate football, I don't love it either. I'm fairly ambivalent. I probably blame my dad for that, taking me to Crewe Alex games when I was younger. But you don't need to support football to see the benefits of the football club to the town. I mean, it's been said by other councillors, but in terms of the short life of this authority, I mean, if we decide not to give a lease because we want to give it to, you know, we think the decision should be made by whatever the successor authority is, well, you may as well just pack up now. I mean, why would we make any other decisions if that's the argument? We've got 2 years. We should be trying to build on the legacy of this authority while we've got the chance. What else was I going to say? I mean, as has been said, I mean, the original motion does not commit us to signing a lease today, and there isn't the detail in there. It is brief. The point of it was to try and inject a bit of urgency to get things moving. And had there been an amendment that had said, you know, we'll sign within 6 months, subject to, you know, the football club providing X, Y, and Z, then I probably would have been in favour of it. But as it is, this motion now, where it's just to provide an update within 6 months, it's not really committing us to doing a great deal at all, other than talking. The only other thing I wanted to raise, and Councillor Wright made the comment that all the other leases we provided have all been for pictures. And that is the case for most, but I think Mansfield Rec also includes the pavilion as well. So although it's not on the same scale as Addlestone Town, there is similar issues to a lesser extent with that lease as well. And those concerns were not raised as part of that discussion. So I think I'll leave it at that really. I would urge councillors to vote against the amendments and to vote for the original motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your insights and your comments. Could we, first of all, then please, can we vote on the amendment? So.
We have a recorded vote, Madam Chair.
I'll second that.
No, I don't speak. I'm merely showing in the group my support for a recorded vote. 3 members are required to stand. So.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I've forgotten.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Tell me, I think.
So we're going to have a recorded vote then. So first of all, Steve will take us through what that actually means so that everybody fully understands.
So just to be clear, this is to either in favour or against the amendment becoming the substantive motion. So you're voting either for the amendment or against the amendment. Is everybody clear on that? Yeah. So Councillor Barnett.
Against.
Councillor Bates.
For.
Councillor Bell.
For.
Councillor Clues.
For.
Councillor Davey.
For.
Councillor Dirks.
Against.
Councillor Fowler.
Or.
Councillor Gilmore.
For.
Councillor Hayfield.
Or.
Councillor Hobley.
Against.
Councillor Humphreys,
For.
Councillor Jackson,
Against.
Councillor Jarvis,
For.
Councillor Jens,
For.
Councillor Amelia,
For.
Councillor Osborne,
Abstain.
Councillor Hayden Phillips,
Against.
Councillor Owen Phillips,
Against.
Councillor Riley,
For.
Councillor Ridley,
For.
Councillor Ryrie,
Against.
Councillor Simpson,
For.
Councillor Singh,
For.
Councillor Smith,
For.
Councillor Stewart,
Abstain.
Councillor Simmons,
For.
Councillor Turley,
Against.
Councillor Martin Watson,
For.
Councillor Wapples,
Abstain.
Councillor Andy Wright, Councillor David Wright.
For.
That amendment is carried.
So as that motion is carried, we don't need to we don't need to vote on the actual motion itself, but we do need to.
Oh, no, sorry, yeah, sorry. So the effect of that previous vote was that we now have a new substantive motion, which is the one that's set out in the amendment as amended with those words up and an update before to the members of the Resources Board in 6 months' time.
So do you wish for a recorded vote for this one?
Yeah.
You have 3 people standing. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody's clear. This is now a substantive motion. Councillor Barnett.
Against.
Councillor Bates.
For.
Councillor Bell.
For.
Councillor Clues.
For.
Councillor Davey.
For.
Councillor Dermott.
Against.
Councillor Fowler.
For.
Councillor Gillamore.
For.
Councillor Hayfield.
For.
Councillor Hobley.
Against.
Councillor Humphreys.
For.
Councillor Jackson.
Against.
Councillor Jarvis.
For.
Councillor Jens.
For.
Councillor Amelia.
For.
Councillor Osborne.
For.
Councillor Hayden Phillips.
Against.
Councillor Owen Phillips.
Against.
Councillor Riley.
For.
Councillor Ridley.
For.
Councillor Ryrie.
Against.
Councillor Simpson.
For.
Councillor Singh.
For.
Councillor Smith.
For.
Councillor Stewart.
For.
Councillor Simmons.
For.
Councillor Turley.
Against.
Councillor Martin Watson.
For.
Councillor Wapples.
For.
Councillor Andy Wright.
For.
Councillor David Wright.
For.
That motion is carried.
Thank you. So yeah, that motion is carried. Thank you all very much. So now a couple of minutes while people off the meeting.
Having the wrong. What pages of name? Cheeks and fit.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a plea, as the road to Russell has been shut and half of the good on the way home, can we crack on?
It said we have a couple of.
Already calling it.
We, thank you, can we, we have got some other business, thank you.
Thank you. Can we all back, please? Thank you.
Thanks.
Not sure where. Councillors have disappeared. Welcome back, Councillor Bernadette. Yes, fine. Thank you. He's going to. I don't. I'll check my possibility. Okay, we are going to continue. Next item on the agenda is, we're still on item 14, but we'll call it 14B. We have another motion, which was circulated on the desks. Hopefully everyone will have had a copy of that. Councillor Osborne, would you like to give your motion, please?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to propose the motion to on the desk.
Thank you. Is that seconded? Thank you very much, Councillor Wackles. Any other motion? Any other motions? No? Councillor Osborne.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Fellow councillors across North Warwickshire, we are rightly proud of our safe and welcoming towns and villages. The truth is that organised crime does not recognise our boundaries. Criminals exploit our rural road network to move in and out of North Warwickshire, targeting our communities with burglaries, drug dealing, exploitation, car theft, etc. After speaking with the senior police officers, they've been clear with us, and the evidence is strong, that one of the most effective tools to disrupt this activity is live ANPR enabled CCTV. We already have CCTV in our towns and villages across North Warwickshire, but these systems operate in isolation. By linking them together and upgrading a core network and working directly in partnership with Warwickshire Police, we could provide officers with the real-time intelligence they need to intercept offenders before they cause any harm. So the key there is the real time. That's why this motion calls for the creation of a North Warwickshire CCTV forum, bringing together the borough, parish and town councils, Warwickshire Police and other relevant agencies. This forum would allow us to harmonise our approach with the police and with each other, share intelligence and best practice across all CCTV control rooms, making sure that every pound invested in the CCTV works harder for everyone. This motion is about leadership. It's about bringing our communities together, working across the parish and town boundaries and standing shoulder to shoulder with the police and residents to make North Warwickshire a harder place for criminals to operate and a safer place for residents to live. Madam Mayor, in closing, this motion is about being proactive. Organised criminals adapt quickly. If our communities fall behind, we risk becoming an easy target. We already invest in CCTV. What's missing is this coordination, linking systems together, upgrading a selected network and working with the police to turn those cameras into live intelligence that can prevent crime rather than simply just recording it. The results from elsewhere are clear. Other areas, more arrests, major drug seizures, dangerous weapons taken off our streets, less car crime and vulnerable people. North Warwickshire and the residents deserve the same level of action. By supporting this motion, we're not only committing funds tonight, we're just committing to working together, explore the options and bring back a clear plan with costs. It's a responsible step and it's the right step and it's safer for our communities. I commend the motion.
Thank you. Do I have anybody who wishes to speak? Councillor Jarvis?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As chair of the Safer Communities, I also chair the RAG meeting, the Responsible Authorities Group. And ironically, the meeting last week, we did speak about ANPR cameras. And I'll apologise now I'm being Atherstone centric, but I think it's more of a general thing. Yes, I support it. And in my 18 years as a town councillor, I was on the CCTV working group. And at the last upgrade, if you look at Atherstone, there's 4 exits. There's north, south, east and west. You were looking at that to actually put ANPR on those 4 cameras. So when anybody came in and out of town, they were going to be got because there's only to say. Basically, there's four ways. You had 100% support from the local SNT, but the one group that stopped it was the hierarchy of the police. They didn't want it. It was there on offer for them. And as they are the ones that would use it, it was not taken as an option. And it was not taken as an option by the police. In the RAG meetings is the Inspector Gibbon from upstairs. And she was charged by our meeting to go away and find out why. And with the agreement with the council, I'm going to continue that because I do support it. It does show who's around, and as I say, the only ones that can use it are the police. But if the hierarchy are stopping the SNTs using it, at that time, it wasn't taken as an option. But yes, I do support it. And after this meeting, I will liaise with Inspector Gibbon and just see where she is on it. And obviously, I'll report back as and when I get some results. But yes, 100% support. Say in the episode that we went through, how long ago was it? 3-4 years when it was upgraded. It was a hierarchy of the police that didn't want it. Obviously, I overrule the SNT. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm more than happy to move for this motion. As the councillor of Manchester comes into my ward, there's quite a few estates on there where it's 2 minutes onto the A5 and the cars are gone. And I think this is not only for the councillor of South Manchester and Ridge Lane, but I'm sure every borough councillor has the same problem with their residents. So I'm happy to support this motion, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Fowler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'd like to thank Councillor Osborne for bringing this forward. When I was on this council some years ago, I actually asked about linking Atherstone or Coleshill, should I say, with Atherstone, but it fell on deaf ears again. It was down to cost, but it was brought and mentioned again. I think Councillor Jarvis mentioned it, and in fact, Councillor Simmons and I also raised it at the same time about, isn't it about time we started to look to link not just Coleshill but other towns and parishes down to Atherstone. I actually had a meeting with the police last week, I think it was, and one of the things that I brought up was saying that I'd actually spoken to the new mayor of Coleshill Town Council and said I would like to bring something to the Town Council about linking up Coleshill with Atherstone. And I spoke to Councillor Jarvis, and
I said it would be nice and really helpful as the chairman of the rank that he could come along and talk to a piece of paper with the options and explore the opportunity. As I say, with the police, with Inspector Gibbons and our Sergeant Skelsey, when I suggested it to them, they were very much supportive and would like to see it. They did talk about the bandwidth, but even talking to my colleague, Councillor Watson, we do think that this could be looked and sorted out. But it was so nice that the Coleshill Town Council are open to look at this. But I do know, Madam Mayor, that I think one of the biggest problems is going to be cost. And I think Councillor Jarvis did bring that to me. But a great opportunity. At the moment, I can only talk about Coleshill, but at the moment when I speak to the Town Council or the police, yes, they have control of our cameras within Coleshill, and it's a look at as and when. But talking to Councillor Jarvis, he told me about people upstairs that are monitoring, and he would love to see and get the opportunity to get even more people upstairs to be able to view those cameras. And then hopefully, as Councillor Osborne has alluded to, is to bring other towns and parishes there. And again, with our police community forum, which Councillor Simmons and I arranged in Coleshill, there were people there saying that actually we have got CCTV cameras in our town, but it would be nice to have some more because there are locations that are hidden. So linking more cameras, and again from Coleshill to Addison and other areas, and with the ANPR, it is well brought forward, and I wholeheartedly support it, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Simpson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Osborne, I don't think anybody dare criticise this motion for not having enough large. I'm aware of a lot of concerns and a lot of parishes over this. And I think this is quite straightforward, quite simple. Anything that we can do to help reduce littering and help the fight against crime has got to be really. So, good on you, Councillor.
Thank you. Councillor Hobley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I fully support this motion. I think every small village, being a rural borough, will know the problems that we have with fly tipping. We've recently had a new camera in Hartshill, but I was just thinking about what Councillor Jarvis was saying. The internal structures of the police do cause problems for themselves, but we're also like that as a council. Councillor Bell has asked on how many occasions now? Dare I ask? How, if when our camera's been switched on, got a camera for fly tipping and social behaviour, and to my knowledge, we still haven't got an answer, and that was 6 months ago. So it's not just the police that need to do better with working with each other. It's also, you know, this council coming back to us. They're not monitored obviously 24/7, but they do record 24/7. They are fantastic. With the county line stuff that we've done as a result of Councillor Fowler's input in Health and Wellbeing Working Party, we are a perfect breeding ground for county lines. The more we heard about it, the more it's going on under our radar without any of us knowing. So I wholeheartedly support the motion, especially with the ANPR. It's fantastic, and it's something that we should really be using. Well, I won't say all of the councils. A lot of other councils are using it, Madam Mayor, and why not North Borough?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ridley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What's not to love about that motion that Councillor Osborne? More ANPRs, more CCTV, a great detection tool. But you need somebody to be able to monitor it. There may be monitoring officers, but what we need is more police officers to be able to stop, arrest, search, continue with investigation. When I realise how many response officers we've got in Warwickshire, it's not great. So we do need, yes, this is a great tool, but we need to push for more police officers to be on our streets to provide the safety that our residents so need. So yes, a start. I'll tell you why they won't want me to support it, because it takes more resources, more staff. So consequently, that's the reason why. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Watson. I've got them written down for me.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As someone who previously did this for a living, spent my life in electronic security, you know, I welcome this. I think it is a fantastic tool if used properly, if interconnected, and it has moved on. So there is a number of things where we talk about, oh, it needs extra resource, it needs extra. All the algorithms now, this stuff can pretty much kind of run itself, and then you interrogate it, you ask it to do things, and it's smart enough now to do a lot of the work for you. But it does ultimately require, and picking up on the point that was made earlier, it requires the technology to be embraced by the police. If the police are restricted or resistant to the technology, then it's pointless. I think this motion's really good. Happy to support it, and I think we need to have that ongoing meeting. I think we need to understand what is the police resistance to it, because it is a fantastic tool. Our interconnectivity actually makes us perfect for kind of counter-lines crimes as well. So ANPR is a fantastic tool to use against that. I'm happy to support it.
Thank you. I have councillor Hayfield next.
Happy to support. Two caveats. One, the quality of the pictures evidence needs to be sufficient that courts will accept them. And that hasn't always been the case. Now, admittedly, things have moved on, but I was a magistrate for a long time, and we just wouldn't accept the poor quality of some of the camera evidence that came to. Right. So that's the first one. The second one is police commitment. And I'm aware I'm surrounded by ex-coppers, I really care. We've got cameras at the Greenman Crossroads. Put by the county council as part of their relation. Will the police action any of those? No. There's all sorts of weasel words as to why they won't. And the nasty little cynic in me says it's too much extra work. If you haven't got police commitment to this, you're wasting your time. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Barnett.
Thank you. Yeah, I also support this motion. Atherstone has seen some great results. As Councillor Jarvis mentioned, it's been a long-standing effort with CCTV. And in large part, that is because of the active monitoring. We've actually got people, you know, watching it. It's not reactive. That does come at a significant cost, though. And at the moment, that is borne by the town council. I fully support that we need to get everyone together, share best practice, come up with how we can improve things. I do worry about where the funds for that are going to come from, though. But as a starting point, I think this is great.
Thank you, councillor Weir, who's next?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I fully support this motion. I've talked in Safer Communities board about my 3 o'clock messages from residents with videos of their cars being stolen. And then my residents would very much be in support of this as well. We do have county lines acting in this borough, which is very concerning. And I think any tool that we can give the police, we know the police have been underfunded for a long time, and hopefully we'll start to see that improve now. But yes, I completely support this motion.
Thank you, councillor Stewart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's all going rather well, isn't it? First of all, I'd like to pass on my thanks to both the two councillors on either side of me for their hard work in putting together this motion and their ideas and following it through. I'd also like to thank the leader of the Labour group and the leader of the Conservative group, as is our way in North Warwickshire Independent. We forward advance notice of our motions to try and see if there's going to be any hiccups or bumps in the road to try and build consensus outside of the chamber. So thank you very much for your acknowledgements. A bit early next time, though, please. To answer a couple of points is that I did a quick scan around the chamber after Councillor Ridley's comment around the number of police officers to see who was in this chamber last week when Philip II was in evidence, and I know there is one over there because the deputy mayor's husband gave him a bit of a shoeing. As did I, actually. And one of the things that was pointed out at that particular moment was the perception of crime and the perception of policing is really, really important to our residents. He went to great pains to tell us how many more police officers we actually have now. And I actually asked him the question, well, where are they then? Yeah, because there isn't that perception amongst the public around things are being done. And I think actually the very step of taking this motion and passing this motion sends a very, very clear signal to our residents who, as we noted, and this is one of the things that I actually added to the motion, was that lower crime, safer streets was the second most popular answer to the question of the biggest change to improve the area. Now, we've already taken steps on the number one, which was better high streets, and with our shopfront fund, we've addressed that. This is now taking that to the next step as well. And I think it sends a very clear message as well. As a local authority, we do listen to our residents and we act on their concerns. The matters related to funding are very important. Yeah, I know the Councillor Barnett and others have mentioned as well, and Councillor Hayfield, I believe. I think that if we pass this motion, not Councillor, the Office of the Police and Crime Commissioner, Philip Second, OBE, DFC and Bar, was great pains to tell us about his grant funding access that was able to everyone in North Wales. That's reopening, and I think that this would be a lovely place to start in terms of trying to find some funding there. The other thing that I think is really, really important, that's really important to us as a group when we're proposing this, is that this is a future-proof system that brings into place. Is that should, as Atherstone Town Council commit strongly to it, should different parishes decide that actually they feel that the commitment, the priority to their residents is that there's a CCTV camera that can link into a network, that they should be able to get fully costed thing of what that's going to cost their residents and bring that through. So that's really, really important as well, and the motion allows for that as well. So I think that overall is that there is a general consensus here. There is a feeling and a worry, and I'm grateful to officers who've also worked with us on this, is around whether the higher ups in the police will go for it. Yeah. But the fact is that that's no reason not to try. And I think that we have the evidence, both in terms of our resident survey, in terms of the consensus in this chamber, to leverage that position. And heck, I've always gone about party politics. This isn't a party political issue, but to leverage and embarrass the police into action, if nothing else, yeah, or to actually point out where they aren't acting in conjunction with the desire and the willingness of residents. So I commend the motion to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Have I missed anybody? Councillor Jarvis.
With your agreement,
You've already spoken.
I have spoken before. That I will speak to Inspector Gibbon tomorrow.
Okay,
She
you've
wants
already
to
spoken.
RAG group to get some answers.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Humphries.
Do you mind if I sit, Chair?
Lots of.
I was very proud of the fact that we managed to get the Green Man Crossroads sorted, but I didn't know at the time that various other roadworks throughout the whole of the borough had 43 ANPR cameras added to them. That cost about £11,000 each. 3 of them are on the Green Man Crossroads. Just after it had been installed, there were 22 prosecutions because there were police officers at the Green Man Crossroads that done people for illegal right turns. There were over 2,000 recorded illegal right turns by the ANPR, and the police refused to accept that as evidence. And I understand where Ray's going with talking to the inspector. It's beyond the inspector. I actually spoke to the superintendent, and it's not even the police and crime commissioner. It's the chief constable. He's the operating officer, or she's the operating officer. And unless we can get police to buy in, we've got to be very careful. And when they buy in, and consistent buying, or we'll be spending a lot of money getting nothing for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have I missed anybody else? No? Okay, can we take it to the vote? Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor.
No problem. Thank you, Madam. So I might address a couple of things here, Councillor Jarvis. Back in February this year, 3 of us from Poleswood Parish Council, because you're all aware that I wear 2 hats, we went to speak to Chief Inspector Gibbons, Adam Scalesey and Julie Taylor. The three of us that went as parish councillors all hold SIA licence for CCTV, just to say. We've made this commitment and we also took 17 policies and revamped them to formulate the most up-to-date CCTV policy for our parish. We are taking this commitment very seriously. Prior to that, we asked for this meeting because we wanted to get a sense of what was happening borough-wide, even though our policies were for the parish. As you know, we are fortunate in Polesworth to have a CCTV system. We know not everywhere in the borough has that. This is partly why we want this motion as well. So we spoke to these people. We asked quite a few things, but one of the questions that we did ask was, what single thing could we do to help policing in this area as a borough? And the response was to improve the ANPR across our spine roads. That was the answer. That's why we've come and formulated this. We've done a bit of groundwork. Sorry, you can't hear me. We've done a bit of groundwork and we've brought it now because we needed to do some background work. At the last North Warwickshire Area Committee meeting on the 10th of September 2025, whereby Philip Seckham, PCC, was asked to speak, he spoke about the strategy which currently majors on 8 factors. I won't bore you with all 8 factors, but I will pull out 3 that are of relevance. His number 3 was halving road fatalities by 2030 from the 2021 level of 37 in that year. This is by speed control, vehicle compliance, crime and offender tracking, dangerous behaviour, and data for planning road safety measures. All can be improved by improving the ANPR systems as well. His number 4 in his objectives, driving organised crime gangs out of Warwickshire. And he mentioned car theft, drugs, trafficking, retail and cyber. But he also acknowledged that this is difficult to manage with the West Midlands conurbation touching most of the county boundaries. Again, an improved ANPR system would aid in this. His number 7, neighbourhood watch and safer neighbourhood schemes, which I'm sure I don't need to spell out how that would help. Also, on the PCC website, which I think Councillor Humphreys has just, yourself, Steve, alluded to, was the Community Safety Partnership funding. Stole my glory. You didn't see my notes. But they're open for application. And if this motion passes, I strongly urge that we look at applying before the deadline of 5 p.m. on the 19th of December, just to note, which would tie in with our timeline. I know that 35k, which is his top line, is a drop in the ocean for this. We spent £40,000 on Wharton alone, parish, so I'm not daft to think that that's going to be anywhere near enough. But it's a start. And hopefully, we may be able to speak to him on a larger scale because this project covers so many areas. So I'm not just asking to tap into that. I think we should have some serious conversations with him and relevant agencies that we've touched on, parish and town councils, and show how much we mean business. Our residents deserve this, after all. So we need to look at other pockets of funding, and hopefully officers will also explore other avenues of funding too. I'm fortunate to be in an area whereby we have local CCTV systems, as I've mentioned, and therefore would suggest we work with parish and town councils to see what is already in use. You know, let's work together. Let's see what we've got and see how we can improve. All of this would need proper discussion with all parties. The idea is to improve what we have out there to assist our police force to do their job. We also need to acknowledge that criminals are always improving their abilities and we need to stay one step ahead. Just to address a matter on the police, those of us that have gone and got a SIA CCTV licence is to support the police. Now, I'm not suggesting that you all have to go and do that, but we support our local SMT by doing that. So if, you know, we are available to help them if they are under-resourced or whatever, we've made that commitment to them as a parish. We're not suggesting everybody has to do that, but that's why we're doing this, because we're taking this seriously. So I therefore support this and recommend that council moves this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Osborne, would you like to sum up?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's great to see a good exchange of views, and broadly supportive of what we're saying. I think every councillor, regardless of party or if they're not in a party, responsibility to the residents is clear. They want the community to be as safe as they can. But it's lots of elements, the motion. There is AMPR in it, yes, there is the live AMPR. But there's also setting up of that North Warwickshire CCTV forum. I think that would be a great step in the right direction. And like Councillor Waffles has said, improving what we've already got now. We know how good the CCTV is in Atherstone with the town councils supporting that over the years, and something that we're rightly proud of. The job that they do for us is amazing. And Atherstone really now is getting known as a place where if you're going to come and commit crime, the likelihood of you getting caught is very, very high. So we are looking. So what I'm trying to do is trying to expand that out across North Warwickshire and looking even to the county council and getting their support as well. So that's the reason why I brought that motion.
Thank you very much. Okay, so can we put in a vote, please? So all those in favour? That's unanimous. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item 16, exclusion, sorry, 15, sorry. To authorise that the chief executive, in accordance with Article 11.5 of the Articles of Constitution, to sign the seal. Thanks. All those in favour? Thanks, councillor.
That's the
Now
thing, so
we'll-
we used to do it when I was mayor.
Now we'll move on to agenda item 16, to exclude the public and press.
Seconded.
Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Okay.